you might not be able to check out movies in theaters for too long if this Warner Brother deal goes through to Netflix. Do you have any thoughts on that? So Netflix struck a deal to buy Warner Brothers. Everybody's worried because Warner Brothers is one of the few remaining movie studios that puts out real movies in real theaters as opposed to direct to streaming on an app on your home TV. And then at the last minute, you've got Paramount Skydance swooping in saying, we're going to try a hostile takeover where we wrest this deal away from Netflix and we'll let Warner Brothers still be Warner Brothers, putting real movies out at least 30 per year into theaters. So some in the acting community are more for the hostile takeover bid than the Netflix bid, which has been agreed to, but is now in danger. Do you have any thoughts on it?
Oh, I've got so many thoughts about it. Listen, I think that's I think that we're already in really dire straits, right? We have such a consolidation of power. It used to be 50 different companies that represented the entertainment industry, and now it's basically down to 5, 6, something like that. And this is why we have antitrust and monopoly laws on the books, is to ensure that we don't have such a consolidation down to just a few powerful entities that are controlling everything within any individual industry. I don't love the idea that anybody's going to buy Warner Brothers, to be perfectly honest. Warner Brothers has been a home for me for many years. I did Chuck there for 5 years. Shazam, both films, these are Warner Brothers DC films. I love Warner Brothers as a studio. I have a lot of friends there, but they've also been going through lots and lots and lots of issues over these last 10 years. First with the AT&T deal that was not good for them, then with the Discovery deal that, ultimately with all of these consolidations, lots and lots of people are losing their jobs. More and more, I think great art is not being made. I think with the Netflix deal, it's particularly troubling because they don't really care about theatrical release. And I think that theatrical release is imperative for us. I think that not just from a financial modeling or, allowing filmmakers and artists to be able to, make a living making movies that go into theaters that people pay for tickets. But when we don't go to theaters, this is something that's, I think, driving us apart. Part of the theatrical experience for decades is that you go to a theater and you are surrounded by strangers, people that don't look like you, don't agree with you. It might come from different political or religious backgrounds, whatever it is. But you know that you can go watch the same movie and laugh in the same moments and cry in the same moments. And what that does is it reminds you, either consciously or subconsciously, that we're not all that different. And so when we don't go to the theater as people and we don't enjoy these things as a collective, we lose even more of that connective tissue. And I know that Netflix is, Sid Sarandos has said as much. He said, I think we can do film windows that, theatrical windows that are like a week or 2 weeks. And that's just simply not enough time, I think, to give a great film its opportunity in the theater. Some films don't even pick up their inertia until a few weeks in the theaters, when word of mouth gets out and people start going to the theater and experiencing that as it was meant to be exhibited. And so I really don't love that. I don't love the consolidation. I don't love that with streaming, by the way. This is another issue that we have, and something that I'm actively trying to solve for. We don't own anything anymore. We're all just leasing everything. And I don't think that's right. I don't love the idea that as an artist, I could go make something and there's no physical copy of it anymore because nobody's making DVDs or anything like that. And so it only lives on a streamer. And then the streamer decides, well, we don't want to put this on the service anymore. And it's gone. It's literally gone. I can't point my friends or family or fans to go watch what I made. It doesn't exist anymore because it's not on the streaming service anymore. And I don't think that's good either. I think we as the audience, we as the people, more and more of us are waking up to the fact that we are just renting everything. It's just subscription after subscription. I mean, by the way, I said this 15 years ago when everyone was cutting the cord on cable. I told all my friends, I said, do you realize what's going to happen? We're going to cut this $100 cord, this bill that's got all these channels, and certainly some that we don't care about and we don't watch. And that's, why are we paying for all this? But then what's going to happen is we're going to have 10 subscriptions over a whole bunch of different services, and we're going to pay twice as much. And that's exactly what's happened. And now there is no home video. There's no ownership anymore. We've got to figure out a way to get back to that. And I don't know that any of these things are getting us there. So it's troubling all the way around.
I cannot imagine going to see, some of the movies we grew up on, like Indiana Jones, just on the small screen, not being able to watch that on the big screen. Or another one, Schindler's List.
Yeah.
Remember? I mean, everybody remembers seeing that movie for the first time. Unfortunately, in my case, I went with my stepsister who had just gotten off her shift as a nurse and went into Schindler's List with a salad from McDonald's in one of those plastic containers.
Ooh.
It's like every time she opened it, it was so loud. And then the salad eating was loud. I was like slowly moving my way away from her, like 4 seats down. Like, oh my God.
That's
so
an episode of Seinfeld. I mean, that's basically what you're talking about.
Totally. But anyway, the point is, like, most of these movies will be way more impactful on the big screen. And yes, there is something to it. You think of like the great horror films that we've all seen, like Friday the 13th, seeing that in the theater with the audience yelling at the same moments, or even you walk out of Terms of Endearment, everybody's got this tear-stained face.
Yeah.
Like, there is a shared community in experiencing it together. So I agree. I mean, I'm not really rooting for the Netflix deal. I have to be honest. They're big enough, and I'm not really a big fan of the people who run Netflix and own Netflix. So we'll see what happens. Ever read the label on a typical bag of chips? It's often a science experiment of seed oils, MSG, artificial dyes, and mystery ingredients. Masa is part of the growing movement to bring back real food. Masa chips contain just 3 ingredients: organic corn, sea salt, and 100% grass-fed beef tallow. Not only do these chips avoid the bad stuff, they also taste delicious too. Snacking on Masa chips is nothing like eating regular chips. With Masa, you feel satisfied, light, and energetic with no crash and no bloat. And if you love Masa, then you will love Vandy Crisps. Vandy, which is Masa's sister company, makes the most delicious 3-ingredient potato chips too. Ready to give Masa or Vandy a try? Use code MK for 25% off your first order at masachips.com or vandycrisps.com, or simply click the link in the video description or scan the QR code to claim this delicious offer. Don't feel like ordering online? Masa and Vandy are now available nationwide at your local Sprouts supermarket. Stop by and pick a couple of bags up before they're all gone. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.